What's going on, guys? Welcome to a new video. You're in a tree. I've been trying to do this as walking and talking, but I figured I need to get you in a tree. I need my hands free. I'm not good at the whole walking and talking thing. I've got a really interesting update for you all today on the Strid. If we can pull this off, then I think we will well and truly answer everyone's question to how deep is the Strid. But essentially, you all know the story with the divers that claimed to dive Strid back in the early or late 70s, whichever one it was. Now I thought I would look into that a little bit further, but when I started looking into it, I also got some comments of, I guess because I'd mentioned that people had been scuba diving there, that brought out a few more commenters saying if I know how to get permission to do that, then they would like to do that and help us get the footage for the channel. So there's some divers in the comments that reached out to me. I got them out of the comment section and we got into emails and etc. And they would like to know how we can go about getting permission to dive there. So I reached out to an email address which is for the Bolton Abbey estate, and they did respond to me within 24 hours, but it was just the receptionist to say that Mr. Hayes, who is the estate manager, was out of office at the time, but they would flag my email and let Mr. Hayes know once he was back in office. Now a week and a half went by, they got back in touch with me and another receptionist replied on his behalf. I basically had two questions, which were, is this true? Did people dive there back in the 70s? And also, how do we go about getting permission to do another similar diving event? They addressed the first question. So I've got the email up here on my phone. I'll just read the paragraphs out and then we'll talk about it. So in response to asking if it was dived back in the 70s, they said, "You are correct that a diving exploration activity took place back in the 70s for research purposes. This was however restricted to very formal explorations." So from that we can take it is true that the Strid has been dived before, which instantly makes the whole 100% fatality thing, I guess, true to the extent of if you're not going in it without equipment, then it is going to be 100% fatal. But if you've got equipment, then obviously it's apparent that it's survivable. I'm not sure what their research was, what the research dives were for back then. I'm not sure how far these divers managed to get up the actual turbulent bit of the Strid, but it sounds like they didn't get close to the actual turbulent waterfall area of the Strid for obvious reasons. The divers that contacted me and asked how do we go about getting permission, now I had no idea whether or not this was going to be possible, but this email indicates that it definitely is possible, but there are a lot of things that we need to tick off before we're going to be given permission to dive there. So I'm just going to read the paragraph in response to asking if we can get permission and how we go about doing that, and then we'll have a chat about it. Mr. Hayes says, "Bolton Abbey estate is privately owned and therefore to arrange such an activity would require permission, prior planning, appropriate insurance including public liability and employer liability, professional qualifications for diving, a support network and all the appropriate equipment to ensure that activity can take place as safely as possible. Because of the particular dangers that this section of the river presents, you might appreciate that the estate does not allow ad lib recreational diving. We thank you for your interest in the Strid. If the opportunity were to present itself in the future to conduct some research at the Strid, we would ask that the formal channels above were followed." So with that, now that we know we can get permission to dive it, it just has very strict measures that we need to follow. Now I've shared this information back to the divers that were interested in diving here. They basically said the checkboxes that they would need to tick would be more than doable. We can prove to the estate that, you know, these are professional divers, just going to be doing it and trying to get it done essentially until all the boxes are ticked before we get given permission. In the email at the end they do actually reiterate that they don't allow recreational diving without permission. I think that was to say, like, look, I know you've asked if we can dive there, but and I've put a load of barriers in the way, so I don't want you to just go out and do it anyway. But I made it clear in my response. I thanked them very much for the information, and I said, look, we've got no interest in diving here if we can't get permission, because at the end of the day we're going to be making a pretty big video on it, and I would imagine with how well the sonar ball one done, I would imagine it would get quite a substantial amount of views. And it's pointless trying to be a ninja, trying to get into the Strid and ninja dive it if it's just going to get viewed by millions of people anyway. That's off the cards, diving without permission. We're not doing that. The divers aren't interested in doing that anyway. They're remaining anonymous for now. I've asked them if they wanted to be named, but they don't want to be for now. We're just going to keep communicating together and trying to get a date, get set up, get planning. We would have to do like a pre-scout, so we would meet up at the Strid, and you know, all of this would be filmed. This would be a series of events leading up to the actual big day, the big dive day. So the divers actually also pointed out that while they're down there, would anyone like any water samples, rock samples, soil samples, anything like that? So they'll be able to get all those samples from the bed of the Strid or underneath in the caves, stuff like that. Like maybe like some, if there's any plant life and stuff down there, they can bring it back up and we can send it somewhere to be examined and do some proper science on it. We'll probably be getting those anyway, because I'll probably just end up sending those off to like a local university or something. But if there's anyone in the comments would like some samples, you know, just leave me a comment, let me know. Maybe, to be honest, probably better off dropping me an email, and if the dive goes ahead, then I'm sure the divers will be more than happy to get some samples. And you know, if you give us your address, we can just send those off to you. But yeah, I'm at the end of my walk now, and that's all I've got to update you on. By the way, it's not going to be happening this year. We'll have to write that off. It's not going to be this year. It's probably going to be closer to summertime. It's probably going to be closer to summertime next year. The divers have let me know that they're really busy with their current work. So, and also, it's probably not going to be the best idea to be diving the Strid in the winter anyway. Thanks for watching, and thanks for all the support. It's insane. I hit 16,000 subscribers just the other day. If you want all the news and updates on the developments of the Strid, just hit subscribe, hit the bell notification as well, because I think that'll notify you straight away when I upload something about the Strid. But yeah, thank you very much for all the kind words, support, and the divers and the Bolton Abbey Estate for reaching out. Brilliant. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Signing out from Sowerby Woods. Nowhere interesting today. Peace.